Yo, everybody, welcome back. This is a brand new episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversations with your girl Dom. Um, Back from a kind of brief hiatus. I guess I technically didn't have a hiatus because I had my crossover episode with Everybody Needs an Aquarius because y'all do. Y'all really do. Don't roll your eyes. We keep the world together. We just want peace on earth, and y'all just don't listen to us. But that's neither here or there. This week we have a brand new guest to the show. Everybody, she's an amazing person, and I feel like we listen. I welcome new friends, so this is my new friend, y'all. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Let me take off my glasses now that we done with the foolish talk.
Kim.
But I love you. You,
For one,
you
I appreciate that. I try to be a loving person, like that people that can come to me and love on me and I love on them back. It be complicated sometimes, but for the most part, it works out. I'm the villain in somebody's story, every lot of people's story, and I really don't give a fuck. So,
I'm okay with being a villain in your story as long as you tell the story that led up to it.
yeah, that part right there. What did you do? What did you do? And I don't ever want to tell that. So,
Why am I the villain now? 'Cause I'll
you're not
be
the villain in my story. It's like I'm on chapter 36.
people skip to chapter 36. You
Yeah, they
chapter
skipped to chapter
36 as long as you give the context of chapters 20 through 36 and how you ain't shit or you did what you did.
So it's funny you bring that up. Last week, my best friend that lives in St. Louis ran into my former like best friend of like 20 something years, and I ended the friendship during lockdown. So what is that? We were friends for about like 28 years because we met in preschool, and
And you ended
she,
that friendship?
I'm sorry.
You ended that friendship? 28
Yes,
years?
yes.
Okay.
It was a lot of things kind of leading up to it, and ultimately I had to choose myself. Like I feel like at some point, let's just be clear about relationships in general. Everything in life is transactional. Let's just let's be clear. It sucks. It sounds nasty, but it is. So think of our friendship. We got the bank of friendship. We make withdrawals, we make deposits. That's how it's supposed to happen. And if somebody takes you into overdraft, what the fuck am I supposed to do? This is
That's
the given
fair.
tree. It's literally the given tree. Like people don't replenish you, and I got to the point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And so she kind of like I guess gave him like a little insight or whatever because she was still like I guess shocked that we were no longer friends. And he was like, she just kind of felt like, and I'm like, I don't care what she felt like. I'm like, because this has nothing to do with like the last final straw, which had nothing really to do with me. It was like repeat offender, and I just couldn't do it no more. So I was like, deuces.
Mhm.
Moving on to something better, better, better.
But when she was telling your friend about the situation, did she like mention all of her?
No,
Uh,
of course. And so once, and he kind of already knew because when I had kind of told him the first time, but I didn't go into like deep detail. So when he brought it up, I was like, for real, like the end, the ending has really nothing to do with the disrespect to my mom. It's something happened between her and my mom. And so I was like, it really has nothing to do with that. But for me, that was just like it was the icing on the cake was already there. This was like a trick candle, and you keep blowing it out, and then it's like it's always something. And I just got tired. Like I'm I'm not a savior. Like I have my own shit happening, and I just felt like the friendship was very one sided. So I was like, I can't do this no more.
mm, okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
um,
I mean, it's growth. It means that you became a different person. You wanted something different for yourself. And so then
yep.
you begin to set those boundaries of what you are willing to allow or not, or accept which
Yep.
I think I'm gonna say because when you change
Growth,
the person,
boundaries, and I'm strong on my boundaries. And my boundaries are for me, and I always remind people about that. I said the last week on Aquarius, boundaries are for me or the person that puts them in place. The other person on the receiving end does not have to understand, but that means you can exit stage left. So that's it. But hi, how are you today? It's a lovely day out here. It's
I know
super hot.
I feel like we dove straight in, but I mean, it's a great day in LA for me.
It's a great day, sort of. I started bothering you earlier today. I was like, look at this. I saw a story, y'all, I'm gonna read it to you because it's always interesting. We're gonna get into these dating games, like we're gonna call them games, shenanigans, shenanigan, however you want to.
They are shenanigans again. I can't lie.
They are shenanigans, and so I am pulling the story up because I just have to read it aloud. So it says, why does it seem like women's preferences are allowed to be deemed acceptable than men's? Y'all be so quick to say y'all won't deal with the man who is broke. Then when he gets money and things flowing for himself, he then is deemed a good catch and y'all will pay him attention. However, for a man who is typically going to approach a woman based on his physical attraction to her, he spelled girl. He's been spelling attraction wrong
But
to her, and
issue.
and certain physical things that he is attracted to, and you currently don't fit them. Then all of a sudden, when you get in the gym and then fall into them, a man isn't allowed to hit you up. Is that not contradictive? In no way am I telling a woman to deal with the man who doesn't have direction or is unable to take care of himself consistently. It's just funny to me listening to some women in their ideologies. So,
You want to start down?
look, okay. I don't. Okay, so I kind of hate that I engaged in the post, but also sometimes you like to see where things kind of come from, where people's hurt kind of stem from. Because I'm an Aquarius, I want to heal. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and I engage, guys, and I engaged, and ultimately. I was just like, man, somebody cue the violin because someone is in their feelings this morning. And he said, I'm not in my feelings because it's not my issue. It's just funny to me how women can have these standards to not deal with the man when he's lacking in finances. But if she don't fit his standards, it is an issue. And now when she lost the weight and men find her attractive, she don't want to give them the time because they should have looked past it the first time. That's like a man saying, oh, you should have looked past my brokenness for the first time. That's contradictive.
Is it brokenness or brokenness? Because we got two different situations happening here, and I just want to backtrack because I'm already like feeling a way about.
Can the brokenness and the brokenness coexist?
Yeah, so um ooh. I think there are two different things at play when you talk about brokenness versus brokenness. So I wish I had my notepad. I should have been more prepared because I wanna
It's
circle
fine
back to that. But actually I do. Hold up.
because for me, in the post alone, it was a lot to unpack. On top, okay, who hurt you? Who rejected you? What are you subscribing to? Why is this always the conversation when you post? If you're not posting nudes, like weird nudes, it it's a whole thing. And so for me, I you and I've had this conversation. I've had this conversation with this person when he was on the podcast. It's about dating in your lane.
It is.
And it's kind of also, are we all delusional a little bit? Yes. But it's also with the delusion, you kind of
We're
have to
not
have
delusional. We have aspirations.
Okay, I'll say that.
We
I'll
have
take
grand aspirations, aspirations of grandeur. That
that.
like we have this picture in our mind of what we want
Yes.
to see ourselves with, and who
Or what we view, how we view ourselves, because like I was telling our friend to hear, I was like, to hear, listen,
we love to
I
hear.
view I v- okay, I'm like, I view myself a certain way because he has a new show, guys, called Dive in the DMs or whatever, and it's people sharing their DMs. So he hit me up to share some of mine. I didn't have any to share.
I don't have nothing to
Y'all,
say.
I have nothing to share, right? I kind of felt a type of way.
So here's the thing. I when he put out the call, there I only had one dating app message that I felt like was so off the cuff, wild, inappropriate that I could share that I felt like was worth it. It was this white man who wanted to talk about the size of his penis. I don't know why. Anyways, other than that, I didn't really have anything crazy in my DMs. And let
I
me
didn't.
tell you why I think that's the case. So yes, I was salty in that I didn't have anything to provide because I was like, dang, everybody else got these crazy DMs. Everybody's sliding in their stuff. People do slide occasionally, but when they do it, they're respectful. And I want to believe that there's a reason for that. Like there's a reason why people know not to come play with me.
I would agree, right? But it's also, I told my homeboy Cuffs, I was like, you want to know what's crazy? Because he had like a preacher's wife like slide in his messages, and I was like, what? I was like, the only thing that people say to me is, I've had somebody tell me that I needed to smile more. You know how we hate that. Then they send me videos of them watching videos. They're not even engaging with the video. And I want to tell you right now, people, I'm going to do a post about that. That's my biggest pet peeve, when you say it's a reaction video and you don't give us a fucking reaction. Like, if you ain't start talking in about 30, 40 seconds in, I'm cutting it off. Like, I hate that. But yeah, I don't have anything to share. People just tell me that, or they'll respond to like a story, but it's never anybody. It's nothing crazy.
Nobody ever come at me crazy. Not
Nobody ever. The craziest thing can happen on live, and that was when the guy whipped his penis out on my live. That was it.
since you
Yeah.
got more action than I do. I'm like,
I didn't want I was I was like, I've never been virtually assaulted before. This is weird. But you know, um, back to the situation at hand, I think that it was a lot to take away. And so when I shared it with you, we started texting and trying to unpack. I'm like, because what is happening? What has happened to dating? And I would like to know. I think I'd be interested in asking the boomers, like having a conversation with them and kind of comparing dating and what happened. Because like some boomers were still like had arranged marriage situations, but ultimately it's like, where did this weird divide come from, especially when it comes to black men and black women dating, and the things that people say to each other? Because it's not, I'm not gonna limit it to say it's just black men. Black women, like, they get mad and then we say shit too, but it's like, I kind of can't relate, because I think about my circle of friends and the images that we see and what we take in. But a lot of y'all don't, this is what I was gonna say, since you used the word aspirational. With that aspiration has to come a little bit of reality.
absolutely.
And some of y'all not living in that space and might need to teeter more onto the realistic side of things. And I'm not saying that you don't deserve whatever, but you kind of got to work a little harder for that and acknowledge that.
Dom, you being really nice right now, and I just need us to get to it. Like we both had long days. We both know what it is. You can't be out here looking booty butt down, broken, disgusted, expecting to find your whoever that is for you, whether that's your
Whoever that is,
Michael,
yes.
whether that's your Damson, no shade to that comparison, whether that's your whoever it is up there, Sinqua,
Football
you
player?
Sinqua Walls, girl, the
It's,
actor.
oh.
Well, where all is this podcast distributed? let me back
Oh,
up.
I be lusty on here, but I was like, wait, isn't that a football player? You was like actor. I was like, oh, I don't know who that
Sinqua
is.
Walls, man, Sinqua. He's the one that just did White Man Can't Jump with the white boy.
Oh, he look a little slow to me. Ain't he in the blackening? He's in the
Yeah.
blackening. Okay, it's something like, and I think it's like that. He kind of reminds me of Dwayne Wade a little bit. They have similar features.
Don't
And
do
you
this
know,
to
it's not it's that, and that's a no diss. But yeah,
oh, girl, I'm in love with Sinqua Walls. So let's back up because I do want to like stay on the topic of
yeah. So that's
being
okay. So
this message and like reality and all of this stuff, right? Because I do want to
exactly.
touch on that really quick. When you talk about having aspirational goals of who you want to date, who you want to talk to, and what you feel like you deserve, you have to take a really hard look at yourself
Hmm.
and say, me as the person that I currently am, whether that's physical, emotional, internal, all of that stuff, what am I attracting versus
Yeah.
what am I attracted to? Right? Think
Yep.
about like the people that you desire, those people that are on your list. For me, it's Sinqua, right? For me, it's whoever that is,
Yeah.
whatever. You have to think about who those people are and what they would what is on their list, what is on their checklist of things of a woman or a man or like whatever that they would
Yeah.
want, and do you fit that bill?
Yeah. And I always think that there are okay, and I'm gonna say this. I think there are always exceptions. I have seen it happen. I have had it happen where I was like, oh, I would have never thought XYZ. But there was something else where I would it took over for me. And I would say I really don't have like a type when it comes to dating. And and people think that I'm crazy, but I'm like, yo, like if you line up all the men that I've dated, the only thing they have in common is that they all have a penis. Like, and that's just keeping it a buck. But
Yeah.
so yes, you are absolutely correct. And so with that being said, it's like I would tell people, I was like, I understand that I'm an acquired taste. I'm like, not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I think it's something wrong with them, but hey, who are me to judge? But ultimately, I think when it comes to dating, in this new age dating, is just that a lot of people don't live in that reality lane. So if you want to date a certain type of guy, like you said, there are certain things, or date a certain type of woman, there are certain requirements and benchmarks that you just have to hit in general to even kind of navigate that space. So let's say if you're trying to date a guy that is, and for women, yes, I get it. It's a little easier for us because we are women. We have we have coochie privilege. Yes, that's pretty privilege, but we have vagina.
If you
So
know how to use it.
yeah, and so you can get into certain spaces just solely based on being a woman. Whereas for men, yes, it is a little harder. But if you're trying to thrive in a certain threshold and meet a certain type of man and or woman, you have to realize there's work that you have to do to even get into the room.
I'm in agreement, sis.
Yeah.
You're
So
for me. Like so far, we're on the same page. I'm trying to figure out when we're gonna have this discussion because you already know the first thing I pointed out to you in that message when he was like, "You can't be mad," or "I'm mad that she now limits who can come back around and talk to her." I told you
so
earlier.
absolutely, we getting there. So clearly, there's a situation that has happened recently where his homegirl used to be a little heavy and she lost weight. But when she was heavy, there were certain men that she wanted to date, and they were not interested in her because she had weight on her. And now that she's dropped the weight, he kind of feels that this guy feels a certain type of way because she now is like, I'm not trying to. You want you back then you didn't want me, now I'm high, you won't love me. I'm not with it. So he doesn't understand why she cannot date those guys. And
But why is it his business one in the end?
I also said that I said, looks like you navigating trying to figure out other people's business that don't have nothing to do with you
It
because it
sounds like he one of the people that want to date her now, and she's like, no.
well, that's what it kind of sounds like. It sounds like he I feel like people be projecting. So for me, I feel like he might want to date her or is attracted to her because he said that she was beautiful then and she just looks better now. Like pretty much is what he was saying. So for me, I was like, so wait a second. Your homegirl confided in you about something that was kind of bothering her, and now we're on the internet talking about it, and I think it's kind of fucked up. And I mean, so and then you said I can relate to her, and so I would like to talk to you about how you relate.
I mean, well, uh, quiet is kept. That's not so quiet because it's on my page. Like at one point, I was damn near 300 pounds. So like I've lived that fluffy girl life, big girl life. I was always heavy in school, in the family, big like the big girl, right? And so
Okay.
think about like being last chosen, not getting necessarily the popular guys because they're going after the red bones with the long hair and the skinny girls and all of this stuff. You have that experience. And so when you are going through life and you're liking a certain type of guy, regardless of if y'all start talking, don't talk, whatever. I was a heavy girl and I still was pulling niggas. Let's be clear. Was still pulling niggas. Were they always the niggas? Maybe not, but they were niggas, right? That I found attractive, that were in my lane. Okay. So when I came to my self discovery and said, you know what, these really aren't the people that I see myself with, the person that I believe will be my future self or whatever, whatever, whatever. What exactly what I said earlier? What are the things that are on these lists? Like, what would make me feel like my self esteem is higher? Or what would make me feel better about myself or have more courage to feel like that is what I deserve or like to have those
Yeah,
people be attracted to me? And so then I set out on a goal for myself to improve
yeah,
my own self esteem. Now, to improve my self esteem, it came with losing fucking weight. Like,
yeah,
that was a goal of mine. I think a lot of things happened in between that. I had a parent die. I had, a lot of different situations that like triggered, like, you need to do something for yourself
hmm,
before this is you, before this ends up being your life and you die from natural causes and shit. But you look at yourself and you say you have to do something. You have to get it together. Dom, I don't know
yeah,
about like I think you've always been smaller, right? Like you've been on
yeah.
that spectrum.
Yeah, I've always been like, yeah, thin, which is met with
Its
people
own
can,
challenges.
yeah, it's met with its own things because I'm not the curvy girl, you know. I didn't even get boobs for real until college. You know what I mean? Like I was smaller chested, and then like I hit like this random, like growth spurt, well, boob spurt, um in my like 20s, and I had like moved here, so people thought I moved to LA and got work done. They thought I got my boobs done. I've been accused of getting a nose job, and I was like, if I would have got anything done, I would have got lipo and got this fat sucked out my gut. Okay, like just keeping it a buck. And so, I think that people don't realize a lot of stuff that we do. I think because I feel like somebody could take what you said and take it out of context, because you just said like, oh, for me, like, yeah, I wanted to do these things, but also was like, how can I really get the dude that I really want to like date? Like, this is not
Yeah,
it
yeah,
for
yeah.
me.
So let me clarify because
Yeah,
that I am not saying that the only reason I got my shit together
right.
was so that I could go attract some nigga. I
Yeah.
want to be super clear and very intentional about what I'm saying right now.
Hmm.
Dating a certain caliber of man comes with a certain level of self-esteem and
Yep.
outward appearance. It just
Yep.
is what it is. Like that
Yep.
is a
That's
part
real.
of it. Let's leave that there. Put a pin in it.
Absolutely.
Secondly, it's like whatever the word. Like I work in corporate America. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care. For women,
Hmm.
corporate America has a lack of respect for big women.
Yep.
They don't feel like we can make proper decisions.
Yep.
Uh, there are a lot of very successful curvy women in corporate America. But if you talk to them and they gave you the real, they would tell you that it is definitely a difference. And when they walk into a room and start to assert themselves, when they're trying to get into an event, or when they're trying to
Absolutely.
network with somebody, like, people look at you differently when you are heavy, when you're a heavy
Yeah.
person. So when I started to lose the weight, as it started to come off, immediately saw a difference in how people treated me.
Absolutely.
Immediately, both in corporate America, in dating, in family, in friendships, and everything. When I go to the damn store, or do you want to go in front of me?
Yeah.
Go to the club. Oh, you can come on in. Come on in.
And it's a weird like mind fuck too, because even something as simple, and I peeped it, having the dark hair versus the light hair. Like I have been blonde since I was like 27, 28, and then cut it at 30. And then I really wanted to experience like Neil Long, Tony Braxton circa 94, 95. And just even that, like, like I even had like a girl that I know through my stylist, my hairstylist. She was like that was cute, like for the moment, but you having light hair changes your appearance.
Mhm.
It makes you stand out. I thought I was always standing out with the short hair because but no, like people, it's really weird. In the moment that hair changed, I was like, oh shit, like y'all was trying to sleep on me. But like, and I don't really care about stuff like that, but it's definitely like you said, like there's a certain level of like, it's about being seen. Like we talked about that, like that whole concept of like, why would I go date somebody that wasn't really rocking with me when I looked this type of way? And then now you wanna spend the block on me, and I'm supposed to engage because now because I fit into the mold that you wanted.
But let's talk
No.
about it, because I believe that that man had every right to feel the way that he felt about not dating this girl, your friend, person who posted your
Yeah.
friend, whoever the person is. He had every right to not want to date her, and that's fine. That's
Yeah.
his preference. The fact that she glowed up, lost her weight, did what she needed to do, and didn't want to spin the block is her preference. From
Yep.
a person that has been in that situation, like being in a situation where you see people that you were interested in, wanted to talk to, who denied you or whatever, and then you get to a state where you're comfortable and you glowing and all of this stuff, and they're coming back like, hey, how you doing, stranger? Damn, you looking real good. Oh, okay, thank you. And
Yeah.
keep talking. Why? Not because, oh, now I'm bitter and salty and all of these things. I could never see you as my partner because you couldn't
Yep.
see me
Hmm.
through whatever the physical situation was, and that was your preference. But guess what? Timing is everything. And unfortunately, you met me at that time and not at this time. And
I,
so now we can never be.
I fuck with you on that. And see, for me, it's even, like you said, it's for me, it becomes like psychological, because I'm like, okay, at any given moment, something can happen where, like, let's say we have a kid, and it's taking me a little longer to lose the weight, and then all of a sudden you like, you need to do this, like, so it's like it's a pattern. And so I'm like, always, I would always wonder
If
what.
I gain this weight back, are you gonna fuck with me?
Yeah. And so it's just like people, some people could get over their partners cheating or whatever. But for me, I'm like, I don't know. Like I've only been, that I know of, been cheated on once, right? And it always was in my mind. And it was in my mind so much I had to seek revenge. I don't want to live like that.
Wait, don't tell us the story. Because I want to know. You did what?
Look, this was in college, and this is when my mom gave me a piece of advice
Let me
that I
put
will
my
never
glasses
forget.
off for this one. Hold on one second. I need
And
to.
so ultimately, I had my boyfriend at the time uh called me. I was at work. I didn't pick up, but I saw him, like when I took a break, I called him back. He didn't answer. So no big deal. It was a Sunday. The mall closed at 6. So I was like, all right, well, he didn't hit me back. I text, nothing. I'll call him when I get off work, nothing. That night I went to bed. I didn't feel good. I was like, man, this nigga doing some shit. Like I I I just know it. I don't know if I manifested it, but I knew. I could tell. So whatever it was, I felt like I might not have heard from him for a couple of days, but whatever it was, I was just like, my birthday came up, and my birthday fell on a Thursday. And his cousin had hit me and said happy birthday before he even told me. So I was like, what the fuck is up? Like, what's going on? And I was like, I had this weird dream that you cheated on me. And he was like, oh, like, so of course he had to confess. And he was like, he went and took this girl that he used to talk to out to like dinner and a movie. But his reasoning behind it, it was like it was my fault because I didn't pick up the phone when he called. I said, but I called you right back. It wasn't like it was hours had passed. I called you right back. So down the line, I like ran into this dude that I kept running into, and he was very attractive. Like he was fit. He had a low cut Caesar with the deep waves, and
You
but
gotta
every
sing the song now. Now you gotta
yeah,
sing it. Now you
no,
gotta sing
no. But
it.
ultimately,
Caesar with the deep wet. Sorry, I had to
deep
get that.
waves. But ultimately, okay. So every time I saw this guy, he would be with my homeboy, and he would be drunk, and so I never thought that he would remember me. Like, so this last time he's like, so what happened? You never called me. I was like, nigga, like, you not gonna remember in the morning that you met me. So he was like, I remembered that I met you. So I went out with him. And so we started talking, and he took me, y'all, like he took me to Hula Hands, let me order whatever I wanted. So, and I'm in college, so you telling me get whatever I want? Hey, I'm telling y'all, I was spoiled early when it came to this dating shit. I was spoiled early on. So
Mhm.
ultimately, we started texting a lot, and then went out like a couple more times, and he wanted me to come over. So I was like, I could I think I could do that. But I had a boyfriend, and I had a key to my boyfriend's house. Like, but it came with stipulations. I had to call before I would come over.
I
So
think I know where this story is going, and I'm scared. Go ahead.
it's not going there. So
Okay.
ultimately, that I go over to the guy's house, and it was like breakfast time, and we started like making out, and I was like, hold on, like I was like, I still got a boyfriend. Let me go break it with him real quick, and I'm gonna come right back. He live around the corner because he did. So I wrote a breakup letter super quick. Girl, I left that key. I went back over to their house, and I fucked the shit out of that dude.
We gonna
This
have
ain't
to
about that today. We
we
talking
gonna have to
about
revisit
dating.
this offline because you did what? You wrote this man a note and slid it under his door.
No, I put it on his bed. He was coming home from work, so I left it.
Okay, we
I
gonna talk.
left it with the key, so when he came home, like,
This was old time. This was a long time ago. We gonna talk about this later, but yeah.
yeah, this
Okay,
is
okay.
nothing.
This
It's nothing
okay. You've only been cheated on one time.
that I know of.
Okay, and this was the time. This
Yeah, that
particular
was the time.
situation. Okay. All right. Well, now what though?
I moved to LA.
And what's dating been like since? Like I'm trying to get to.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Friend. Okay, look. Back to the situation at hand, then I'm gonna tell you. I just feel like when it comes to like dating in general, like we said, like people just really, I think a lot of people don't know what they want, and maybe it's because they really don't know themselves.
Come on, come on, come on,
Because
come on.
I feel like a lot of it's more people that don't like really like understand the concept of what that means. Because if you don't love yourself, then how can somebody else love you? And so I feel like it's a lot of self reflection that people have to really kind of do. And I think that we subscribe to like a lot of things that are put in place that we can't necessarily relate to, especially as Black people. And that was one of the things that I kind of told the guy. I was like, he was like, women, for I felt like he felt like women only wanted men for solely for money purposes. Whereas I was like, that I think you're missing the point here, even in what you're saying, because this is coming across a certain way. And for me, I'm like, okay, money equals stability.
Yes.
You attraction and looks equals like you can, that's the preference, like, and you're entitled to have that preference, but not at the expense of Black women, because a lot of people do that bullshit too. But what I'm saying is that for somebody, we didn't create the status quo when it comes to that, right? The patriarchy did. So the patriarchy told us that men have to have money and men have to be providers. It doesn't say anything about men being emotional outlets for us, and hell, it doesn't even say that for men to be that amongst their peers. So that's why men are having a lot of issues, because there's a lot of things that are happening that they are currently unpacking. But it's like the basic things that we know when it comes to relationships and the foundations of relationships, what the man is supposed to bring to the table and what the woman is supposed to bring to the table, right? We can talk.
Oh, I'm so tired of this
I
conversation.
know it's like, and I hate the table conversation because a lot of y'all got termites. So ultimately, what you're saying is that you're upset that women are being loud and proud and saying, well, I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to come and subscribe to what the patriarchy is telling me because y'all told me that is what's supposed to be, so I deserve to have it. So your issue ain't with women, your issue is with men.
I don't 100% agree with this, but I also haven't formulated my opinion yet as to why I don't agree. So I don't want to just throw some shit at you and hope
Well,
it
give us
sticks.
a little insight.
I think when you talk about patriarchy, you're talking about the man being the provider and all of these things. But as a part of patriarchy, a woman is also supposed to do her part as well. And we live in a society where women don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying it from the standard, like from the side of what he was posting about, what the guy was saying. And it felt like everything went just back to the financial aspect of things versus it was like, well, you're saying I have to have money, and but I'm saying because you used to be fat, I'm gonna say I don't want to say fat. Fat sounds so aggressive. Used
I
to
mean,
be
that's what it is. Like, let's
well,
just
you used to be fluffy, and now you fit and thick in all the right places. So
Mhm.
because of
I
so
was
you're saying that you don't want to date this guy, but like it doesn't the two, or I might do like you sound slow. Like it's not the
well,
same thing.
again, to play devil's advocate, I want to believe that what his issue is that there are women who will decline advances from men who don't have money. And then
Yeah,
once those men get money, it's like they want to circle the block and be like, oh, you got money now? Let me talk to you. Right. And I think that's just as bad. Personally, I
yeah.
do. What I will say is that as a woman, I will date a man that is financially deficient in his bank account.
Okay.
Subscribe to broke because broke is a mentality. And if
Yeah,
you got a broke mentality, I can't fuck with you.
yeah.
I just can't. As a man, if I'm coming to you and I'm interested in you and you currently do not have funds to do what needs to be done as it relates to me and whatever else, if you are so deficient that you can't even take care of yourself, you should not be what, Dom? Dating.
Dating
You shouldn't be dating,
should
right?
be dating.
That's number
Shout
one.
out to Clint for that.
Shout out to Clint Coley. If you are broke, you should not be dating.
Should be dating, and that goes for men and women.
Period.
And
You
I
have
feel
to
like
find your own stability first. But the
yeah,
part two to that, Dom, is if you don't have the funds, and I'll tell you a situation that recently happened. If you don't have the funds But you have the mentality, you have the mindset, you have a goal, you're like on a mission. I know that I need to do X, Y, and Z. I'm either in school or I have X, Y, and Z set up. This job is going to lead me to this. I know that, like, whatever, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can fuck with you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to take care of you, but I can ride with you. Like, we can be in this together. You gotta be secure in yourself, though. I'm a grown ass woman with my own apartment, my own situation, my own whatever. I got a dog now. Like, I can fully take care of myself. I take care of my mom and like, I don't need anything from you. But if you're in a situation where you're still building, you're still trying to acquire your stuff and get your stuff together, we can rock, but you got to be secure in that. The last time I dated somebody that was a little bit under financially, like, he was in school and he was so insecure about not having money. It's like, I'm gonna be in law school for the next 3 years, and what happens if you just decide, like, I want to go take a trip and I can't take the trip because I ain't got no, what if you can't take the fucking trip?
You can't take the trip.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm not gonna not take it, but that doesn't mean I'm because you can't.
Well, here's the interesting thing too. Like, I know men that were interested in women, that ultimately were like, you know what, let me hit you with my money, right? Like, and if you're available, would you be open? Because they were financially, like, in a space where it's like, this is not going how, like, things happen to people. We all have setbacks. But they was like, let me remove myself because you're gonna require certain things, not because you're a woman, but it's like there's certain things I want to be able to do for
And if
you
a
and for
man
us to
can
experience.
communicate that, if he can
Yeah.
say that and say, look, I have a lot of respect for you. I really enjoy spending time with you, but I know the type of woman you are, and I don't want to give you less than what you deserve right now. So
Yep.
I would like to take some time to go and get my money right and do what I need to do. The worst thing you can do for a woman who wants to be there for you, like, men when they get broke, when they money get funny, they get depressed, they like
Mm-hmm.
draw, they do all of this stuff that gets
Yep.
really weird. And for people who don't understand why they're doing that, when you don't communicate with us and tell us what's going on, like, we just supposed to expect or like read your minds and say, oh dang, his money funny, let me take a step back. No,
Yeah.
like, if we've been rocking and now your money is shit, then you need to communicate. Look, it's rough right now. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I promised this. I said this. I did whatever, but I ain't got it. And I
Yeah.
respect you enough to say, like, let me take a step back so that I can refigure this out, come back and give you what you need to have. Man, I respect you
Yeah.
10,000 times more
Yeah.
than
And
just,
we could also, like, be friends, like, we ain't gotta, and we could do, like, like, check-ins, like, do a free thing here and there, whatever, if it's like that. But it's like, it's one thing where it's like, like you said, somebody, because potential is a motherfucker. Like, falling in love with
I'm
somebody
not
with
dating with
potential.
potential though anymore. My dating
Yeah,
coach.
well, yeah, we're dating, and so, but that's the thing. Is like, are you dating for potential, or are you dating intentionally? And so there's a variety. And so we know the red flags. You can pick up on that stuff right away. And like told you, we're all not perfect. The concept that the issue with dating is a lot of people don't want to ask the questions, and so when they get into these deep relationships and or marriages with people, and shit start hitting the fan, people want to be surprised. Well, or they are surprised, but I was like, damn, you didn't ask that nigga that when y'all was dating?
The
You,
issue that I see is that niggas want to lead with money.
yeah, oh,
You
absolutely.
want to lead with the money,
Absolutely.
and you don't want to give enough of yourself emotionally so that there is an attachment beyond the money. So then
Yep.
when your money is funny and you don't have anything else to offer,
Offer.
because you haven't given of yourself, you don't know anything about this person enough to be able to connect beyond that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the world is ending. That's it. I guess I ain't got nothing else to offer.
Yep.
And that's
I
because, like, the person who posted this thing is mad that people don't want to spin the block, or she would want to spin the block. Whatever he mad about, he all but hurt for something. But
yeah, I feel like, and I'll see you the episode, y'all. And I'll be sure to also put it in the show notes so y'all can see the like what we're preferencing, because it's the same thing. It's the same shit, different day. And I'd be like, oh my god, you not tired? I told you to, my ass. I was like, I said, you got to go talk to somebody about this, because this comes up a lot and it bothers you. But so for you to tell me that it doesn't pertain to you and it doesn't affect you, you're mad. It's affecting you.
It's
So
a
something has happened where this is triggering you in some kind of way.
I really think he want to date that girl, and the girl was
I
like,
think you
"Hell
want
no,
to get the
hell
girl.
no, I don't want to talk to you because you declined, you rejected me back in the day, and I fuck you because I'm fine." I'm gonna stand on that 10 toes
Yeah.
down.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm standing on
Absolutely.
that. As a woman that's in this woman's position where she ain't circling the block, she ain't letting nobody come back around.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I would say this, like, when I knew the type of man that I wanted to date it, dated, wanted to kind of date and hobnob with, it
Nah,
that came with, like you said, like it. Yes, I'm educated. Yes, I have my degrees. Yes, and I also understand the concept. Like I feel like both of us probably have benefited from pretty privilege. You know what I mean? And but there were certain spaces I was like, okay, well, I'm only going, maybe go to certain places to potentially meet these kind of men, because it's a game. It's all a game. For men, it's the same thing when it comes to women. And you might. So for me, like at one point, I was working in Beverly Hills. So it's a lot of stuff happening outside of shopping when it comes to Beverly Hills. So you got like financial districts over there, you got all this stuff that's happening. So I was like, oh, I bet I can meet a nice guy going to like a happy hour. Or, so we would do a happy hour or something like a couple of times a week. Outside of work, I would go to sporting events, and I would meet nice, like nice men. So it's like, so I try to tell my homegirls that I'm like, okay, where are you guys going? What's happening? Men, it's the same question. So if you're going to the same place constantly, like every week, and it's the same people, I'm like, you kind of got to expand beyond that to kind of see, like what's really out there. A lot of women don't care for sports. But I'm like, you might need to bite the bullet and go to a few things and, like potentially try to meet somebody.
I'm only going
Uh,
to a sporting event if I'm in a suite or a box.
You're not gonna meet a man there
And
unless it's you're not meeting a man in the sweeter box, because for the most part that you going with like a
I
company,
disagree with that, but that's fine because the men that I will meet when I'm in that suite or that box are the people that I need to be around. Like that, if I'm with a company, if I'm with a whatever, then they've also invited the caliber of people that I want to deal with. Not to say that they're not anywhere else, but I
yeah,
know what I like and I know what I don't. I'm willing to go outside of my comfort zone.
yeah. I feel I feel like for okay, so for my experience being in the box, those were the majority of the people that I knew them in some capacity, or we've crossed paths. So for me, it was more about actually like sitting in certain sections. Like I'm probably gonna sit in like the 100s, and go to a game, and that's where I met a really nice guy that was into like he was like a big like developer out here, real estate developer. And I ended up sitting behind him at a basketball game, and we hit it off. And so we were dating for like a while off and on. But so like things like that, or, and, like I said, like I did date a couple of clients, but outside of that, it was just like, like I said, like I was meeting people in like places where I was like stepping outside my comfort zone. So dating is just always interesting, and it's a game of risk. It really is risk. Sometimes
it's risk versus reward, but it's knowing what you want and knowing what you're going to attract versus what's
yeah,
attracted to you and all of that. Like you, to go back to this dude's message, you cannot be mad that this woman has leveled up when you have songs from Kanye West of like when he get on, he leave your ass for a white girl, all of this stuff. Men do it all the time.
they do it all the time.
a point where they feel like they've bettered themselves, they've leveled up, they've got their coin, they've got this, they've got that. They now go to where they want to be in terms of who they feel like they can attract at that time. And that sucks.
You want to know what it all goes back to, and what are they leading with? Money. Because it's like she's not deserving of that because of XYZ. And then now that I got it, so it's just forget all of these women, this entire race of women, and then I'm gonna go over here.
Even if
And
we take race out of it, because somebody's gonna have a whole debate about that and all that.
I don't care.
Take,
That's what
but
we want. That's
take
what
the
we're here
race,
for.
take the race piece out and say, okay, this woman been down with you while you've been broke all of this time. You get
Yeah.
on, you level up, you do what you need to do, and now you go to another woman, whatever race she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll decide that they want to fucking level up. And they're not gonna spin the block to whoever wanted them when they were broke, because that's not the mentality of people that they
Yeah.
want. So if I'm now fine as hell and I want to attract this man who is also fine as hell, who also has a significant amount of money or money mentality or whatever that is, if that fits who I am and I'm on the checklist now, then that's what the fuck I want to date. And you
Yeah.
can't be mad about it.
You can't complain about it. And
You missed
I
the boat. You missed the boat. Get over it.
and I also I it's funny because we feel like this is a linear, like this is only pertaining to like our people, right? But I've seen these conversations happen with like white people, and it just be so funny. But it's also it's like what we talked about. I was talking to this girl earlier, and we were talking about the concept of like when it comes to us doing certain spaces, the certain things and navigating certain spaces versus like a white woman. And you know, like a white woman be like, the audacity of this not to be mine, I'm deserving of it. And we be like, I gotta hustle it out. And I'd be like, bitch, that's the biggest misconstrued statement. This hustle bullshit, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Okay. The audacity is mine. And that's why you see a lot of people like, I'm about to live my best white man life. Because they be mediocre as fuck, and they got it all. So
Now,
it's
you date
like,
outside your race?
what'd you say?
You date outside your race?
Yeah. For the first half of I've been in LA since 2010, so it'll be 13 years. Like, yeah, this October. But yeah, like I dated outside my race a lot out here because I had to.
Do you feel like the men that you dated that were outside of your race were men that you were attracted to that were or weren't within your lane?
Yeah, I was definitely attracted to them. Uh, and they were in my lane, you know, and sometimes what happens is that I think I was more so shocked that so many men were interested in me because I'm from St. Louis, so it's like very black and white. You know, a lot of and when you see, but when you would kind of see like black men like dating like white girls or whatever, it's they would be kind of like the Carlton type dudes, kind of like quirky, and I'm not we would refer to them as corny kind of, but like you know, and so when some of them actually like when they married black women, it was a couple of them I was like shocked, like wow. But I think for me, because of like because there is unfortunately this weird disdain for black women, um I was shocked that you know like globally I was having like just a different experience.
Do you think it's a disdain for black women, or do you think that it's literally the perception of what we give off, like our energy, our esteem, like whatever that is, and however it's built and instilled within us,
I'm gonna say,
we do or don't like?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say a lot of it has nothing to do with what we give off. We can walk in the room and not say nothing, all eyes be on us because people are so enamored by us. So I think it's the crown that we wear. Like I know that sounds hoteppy, but you know, like I know Kim when I'm walking in the room. It's like, what's up? Like I'm here. Like like
Oh, we
a
know
man,
this. We know.
like a man could be with his chick. Like it literally just happened at Target where this
What
guy
the
was.
energy you have?
I feel like the energy is like literally I'm that girl meets alien superstar.
I'm in agreement. I have
Yeah.
friends that tell me I can't come with them places because they know how I'm gonna show up. The woman, who's my low key dating coach right now, she was telling other women like you have to have friends. You have to go out. Exactly what you were saying. Get outside of your comfort zone. Go places. Do things and like explore. But she was like, when you go, you gotta go with a friend. You can't be by yourself all the time. Like you have to have female friends that can balance you out. Just
Yeah.
make sure they're not the Beyonce because you can't have a friend that when you go somewhere all the time, all eyes are on them if you want the eyes to be on
Oh,
you. And that's what she was telling. And I feel like for you and your friend groups, you can often be the Beyonce. Like you are gonna be the one that the eyes go
you
to
sound
first.
like my cousin.
I'm
Uh,
gonna say it's a
yeah,
baby.
yeah, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Yes and no, because sometimes the person, I'm gonna say yes and no because, and it depends on where I'm going. Because if it's a certain requirement, like if it's a certain dress code, I feel like there's certain friends I'm gonna call. If it's more relaxed, I'll probably go with one of my other homegirls or whatever. But I'm always gonna, because for me it's like you just never know who's in the room. Even if I'm like casual, cute or whatever, like what we're gonna say athleisure. I'm still gonna somewhat kind of look put together. But ultimately, I would say yes and no because you know knowing how the concept of looks work, I could go somewhere and be attracted to somebody, and ultimately my friend could be what like his preference because that's what he's used to dating, or they have something that like and it doesn't make me feel like I'm now Latavia or Farah. Yes, I said that. But I'm still in my right. Like I'm
I'm
still
not
that
even
girl.
gonna go there. I think though that you know what I'm saying. I know
I
you're
know what
trying
you're
to be
saying. I know
politically
what you're
correct.
saying.
I know you're trying to be nice and you try to soften the blow. There are
Oh,
people, you and in our friend group, whoever else, when you go places, there is a magnetism. People are drawn to you. People want to be around you. People want to talk to you. That comes with a certain level of self esteem. That
hmm
comes with a certain level of work on yourself, whether that's external or internal. And all of those things are the steps that have to happen for you to get to a certain level to say, I want this type of person. Now, when you go somewhere, ain't no Dusty walking up to you.
they do.
Why, Dom?
Girl, them be the only people that be trying to talk to me, and I just be
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Girl,
no, I don't have
please."
I don't have Dusties that walk up to me. I
Yeah,
can't.
so but it's really weird, and I could, and here's the thing too. It's like I gotta respect the player because it's been a man staring at me at the bar for the past hour, and it's googly eye, but ain't saying nothing. So you was like, "Fuck it, I'm going up here. I'm figuring it out." It's like, go home, Roger. Go home.
Look,
It.
I don't have Dusties that come up to me. I don't have Dusty. Well, look, they got some little random little DM, whatever those Dusties. But like in person, in real life, men know if I'm stepping to her, there's a certain level. Now,
Oh, absolutely. I never give the Dusties my number, but I appreciate the confidence. But when a man really comes to me, like they know they gotta come correct. So which goes back to the DM conversation that we talked about. Like I think it's a certain energy, even from the photo that's coming across. And sometimes people misinterpret it because I've had certain men say, and I'm still be trying to figure. I'm like, okay, you got that from that. I don't know how, but okay. But ultimately, I think it's like they know. And I remember dating a guy. and he was like much older, and he was like, I never really had the confidence to date what I felt like I was deserving of because I lacked the confidence.
Mhm.
And so I always wanted to date women like that look like you, that were like you. And and what was the key factor? What was the shift? Money. So for men, they equate
And that's so sad.
confidence to that.
That's so sad. And
It's
it turns
sad.
me off, quite frankly. I think because of my history with weight and all of that stuff, I learned, and I mean, also other stuff too, with like dad and family and whatever else. I was always the person that had to reach out to my family, to my dad, to my friend, whatever, so that I didn't feel like the I won out. I always had to be the one to initiate contact. And so, even in my adult years as a bigger woman, I
Hmm.
always felt comfortable initiating a
Yeah.
conversation. Like, if I see you looking me dead in my face and you're not saying anything, hi, how are you? Is it like, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, let me help you. What's going on? As a person now that is in a different space, I find myself still doing that, and I don't have to.
Yeah.
But I still find myself slipping back into those situations where I'm like, this man is looking at me, or I'm attracted to this person. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna like take the first step. And those
I
aren't the
think,
people I really want to deal with. I'm gonna be honest. Like
and
I don't want to deal with those people. I want to deal with the confident men that can come to me. And the
I
men that have been most successful most recently are the men that do that. The ones that
okay.
fail miserably, that like we crash and burn, regardless of whose fault it was, is when they didn't even take the first step to start this. I did, and I don't
Okay.
want. So from the jump, I'm dealing with something I don't even want, and that's why it's crashing and burning.
I would say for the most part, um, I might have. I know in my current situation, how we met, it was at like a house party. But when he walked in, I was like, "Ooh, who's that motherfucker? Like, who is that? Like, I'm gonna get that." But then I also was like, "Shit!" Like,
Do
then,
women
then
do that? I know I do.
I was
People
like, "Okay." Now
say
my
women
mind is
don't do that the
racing.
same way that men do, but I think it's a lie because when I see a man that I want, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I'd be like, "I'm gonna get him." And I was like, I was like hook, line, and sinker. Like I was getting it. Like now, and what helped is that there was a level of like when we started to talk, like that day when I engaged in conversation, he picks up on my accent. And so now it's like, oh, where are you from? And then there's like this level of familiarity there because that's where his family is from. And so I was like, oh yeah, this gonna be my husband. I got this. I got this in a bag. And I knew his homeboy because like I knew like his homeboy liked me, right? And I was like, I'm not interested. You're not my type. Like you and I don't have a type, but you don't fit the mold, like what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
And it was just so funny because then like the friend like invites, and I've known the friend for years. And then I'm like, okay. So then they like, oh, we having Taco Tuesday. And I was praying, Kim, I was praying.
That the man would be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't get his number that day. Cause I was like, I didn't want to be like too aggressive. But then I was like, if he's there that Tuesday, I'm going in. And then when I went into like the kitchen, I didn't see him, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?" Then I went to like this other room, and he was there talking to somebody, some girl or whatever, and I didn't give a fuck. I was like, "Hey, boo, what's up?" And it was like he looks at me. He has this look, and he does it every so often. It's like like he has seen me for the first time again. And I love when it happens because then it happens a lot after we like will fall out, like we'll argue about something and we'll
Yeah.
be mad at each other, and
I
then
can't
something will
stand
happen.
niggas that do that. I'm saying that facetiously. I love it, but I can't stand when they do that because it makes me fall deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. When they look at you and like
Yeah,
give
I
you,
like I got this nigga. Like it be fine. Like, but
man, I will put that shit on. Like if I'm about to go out, if I'm about to do something, and I know I look good, I'm calling, being like, "Look at me." Tell like, go ahead,
Yeah.
give me and tell me I look good. It's a drug. Quite frank, I'm not even gonna hold you. It's a drug.
Yeah. It's so
Men
funny
who
because
know how to do it well know they know how to do it and get on my fucking nerves because they
and
know what they doing.
and you know I date an Aquarius, so they don't give it often. But when they give
You a
it,
lie.
no. Like I'll be like, oh, I look good today. I'm finna say this, but this nigga won't say nothing. I was like, okay, bitch. Like, all right, I'm gonna put it on Instagram. Don't put them
Mm-mm.
sunglasses on.
I don't have the same experience. But what I will say is I know who I need to call when I need that boost. And I think too, we gotta be honest with ourselves and
Uh-huh.
know that this ain't the podcast for this. This ain't the conversation for today. That we have to know when we need healing in certain areas because that boost is still left over from when I was a fat girl. Like I'm very clear and aware of that. I
Hmm.
need that adrenaline, that dopamine boost from the people that I get it from because I was lacking it back then. Right. So now that I
Mm.
space and in this
Hmm.
body, I know that I can attract a certain level man. And I know that I am attracted to a certain level man. But I
Yeah.
still want you to tell me, oh girl, you look good. I know I look good. But I need you to tell me.
Yeah.
I need it.
I need
So
to hear it.
we
I need to
have to be
hear it. It's just
honest.
like
We have to be honest. I need a man that's gonna tell me I look good because I need to hear it from Fat Girl Kim. Like I need to
I
hear
be
it for her.
like, listen, boy, say my name. I be like, say it, tell me I look good. All of that. And it's just so funny because, like, and I never trip off of it, but it'd be like Sunday, I'd be like, whoo, like, buddy.
Say my name. Do all of it. All of it. All of it. Girl, you didn't know
Listen,
singer in my past life. Past life. Song.
listen. It's just funny. And I think, but like I said, it, it all goes back to knowing your role, knowing who you are as a person, and saying and like and we talked about this earlier, like being able to attract what we know like we deserve. And ultimately, a lot of people focus on being like on what they don't want, girl the dog. uh where that person starts to manifest because your mind is only there. It's like, I don't want this, I don't want this. And now, yeah, that person starts to manifest. Somebody's like, why is this person all my red flags?
Mm-hmm. Because that's
Well,
what you
you
focus
wasn't
on. That's what you
focusing on, like, there's one thing acknowledging somebody's flaws and hiccups, but it's like another thing to only, so many people only say what they don't want. And they meet those people.
slight deviation
Yeah, go
derivative
ahead.
of that. I think a lot of people focus on the things that they don't want, and they will meet people that then don't have those things and still don't possess things that they do want because they haven't spent enough time saying, I do want these things. I do want this. I do want that.
Yeah.
Have balance of the two. Like, yes, I don't want a nigga that lie. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want that. Cool. Now the person that's standing in front of me don't lie. He don't this. He don't that. Yet he still don't meet my list of requirements.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, friend, I don't know. I think, but it's just because, mainly because we focus on, and it sucks, but the society we live in, we harbor on like the negative as opposed to the positive. Like, and I think that's why people love pages, probably like Black Love or Black Love Doc or something. So when you hear those positive stories, because we feel like it's few far in between. And really, when we think about like the percentage of people, and I'll be specific, like Black people, we always hear these crazy numbers about single moms, singles, dads, like the amount of single women is higher, single moms is higher than men. Because I'm like, yeah, it's higher because a nigga can get 20 bitches pregnant and have kids by 20 women. I'm like, so but we don't really highlight like the positive number, like how like a lot of black people. That's a cute. It was like 80 something percent of black people were like in relationships and or married. Now,
Are
are they
they?
happy? It's a high number, yes,
I want to
because
Google
a lot of people are.
it.
I think a lot of people are. You talk about healing, doing the work, feeding their inner child. A lot of people are, yeah, like it's getting back to kind of like basics when it comes to that shit. It's a lot of black people married. Now I didn't say if they was happy, but I said they married.
I'm gonna have to go look that up because I like, and this is to your point. I never would have thought that. I never
Yeah,
ever in my life would have thought that the number would be that high. And I think there's a whole other conversation to be had about marriage and all of those things. I want to preface, like we should have started with this. I don't give advice to nobody because I don't even have the answers myself. I'm still healing, still learning, still growing. Every situation is teaching me something different. But I would have never thought that people were married at that rate. Like I just
yeah.
wouldn't
It's
ever.
a lot of black. It's a lot of people married. Every
Yeah.
time, and I feel like everywhere I turn, it's somebody getting engaged. It is somebody walking down the aisle, and I just be like, oh wow, like I was like, is this overload? But also, it's just like I look at it like this: like we all are all in control of our happiness, and we deserve to be happy.
If
And so
we're
and you
honest.
deserve to find your person too that like contributes to that happiness. Like they're not the root of your happiness, but they're like, oh, I could bring you a little sunshine too.
If
You
you're
got
honest,
you got the rainbow. I give you a little. I got you got the sun going. I give you a little rainbow, a little Skittles. So I like that.
I'm
So
gonna repeat. If you're honest about it, yeah. People have to be honest with themselves about
yeah,
what they want. People out here saying I want to be married and they ain't doing the work to be married.
a
People out
lot
here
of
saying I never want to be married and aren't being honest with the reason why. I for a long time, and I'm still undecided, but I for a long time was like, I'm not having kids. I don't want kids. Like I'm not doing that. And I had to be honest with myself and say that I felt that way because I felt like I was inadequate and I didn't think that I would be a good mom. Like I felt like I'm a nurturer. I love to care for people and all of that, but I'm not a person that is good with commitment. And you telling me to commit minimum 18 years of constant support and attention. Like I gotta do this all the time. I have commitment
I
issues.
I wouldn't mind it as long as I would want to have a solid partner. I don't want to do that alone.
Well,
Like
that's what I'm learning now in
yeah,
the work. Like when you are going back to therapy and having these conversations and being honest with yourself and learning, like you don't think that you want to have kids because you don't think that you will be a good parent. But guess what? You don't have to be a parent by yourself.
yeah, you
But
don't.
guess what my family shows? Everybody is divorced in my family. Every person.
Mm,
So in my mind, having a kid means at some point I'm gonna be by myself doing this.
damn,
And that's fucked up, right? Like,
super fucked
but
up.
it took a while for me to be honest to say, like, that is why I view this like this. Like, I genuinely feel like at some point I'm gonna be by myself and have to be like a parent. That is what I'm seeing in my family. And so you have to break that, go to therapy, heal, learn, and like say, no, you need to work on yourself and understand how to be in a successful relationship and pick the person that you would have a child with that you believe would have a successful co-parenting relationship. Like, and that's not what I was doing. In my mind, subconsciously, I just knew, like, well, I need to think about this. At some point, I will be by myself doing this.
Damn, that's
That's
crazy.
wild.
That is. That's
Because
hello.
duality of that is like, I don't think I think that at some point I'm going to be by myself doing this. So I automatically assume the worst of any relationship. I like skip to the end before it even
Damn.
begins because I know it's going to end at some point.
Damn.
Then I don't think that I'm good enough to be this person's parent by myself. Like it's a lot, but
It's a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
be honest. You gotta do the work, and you
Yeah.
gotta know, like, as a person that is on this journey to doing the work, I can't be with other people that's gonna trigger me
Yeah.
and bring me back to where I was.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in dating too. It's not just about physical features. It's not just about money. It's not just about any of that shit. You
Yeah.
have to date in your lane as a person who is also either on the journey or further along in their journey.
Yep.
Because if you don't, you will get fucked up and pulled back to the person you don't want to be.
That's listen. That's why I be telling people. I was like, it's certain stuff like, and you just try to, I had to have that conversation like last year with like my brother about some shit, and I was like, yo, like honestly, if that's gonna be the thing, like I can leave. And I was like, mainly because I was like, I don't have time. I don't do slick shit. It's not funny to me. It's not cool. And I'm like, yeah, somebody want to be petty, but I'll be pettier. And I don't like that. Like I'm like, so it's about, hey, boundaries. This is what works for me, and this is what makes me comfortable. And I'm not trying to go back because like we're all trying to be the best versions of ourselves. I, at least the people that I know that I fuck
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my friends are all in therapy. We all are able to call shit out and have like those tough conversations. And I'm able to say, hey, I ain't fucking with you today. I'll call you tomorrow. But today it's a no. And and sometimes people don't understand why. And even calling shit out, they'll still try to like play you. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna call you probably by the end of the week. Maybe you need to sit in that a little longer.
Give me an example, Dom. Give me an example. That's what you
I
understand. But like me listening to you give these scenarios, I'm like, there's still some clarity I'm missing here. So I'm
No,
asking,
I mean like okay, so like in the sense of like I was like so I feel like what's happening is I feel like I'm nurturing my inner child to a certain degree when it comes to like being able to speak up and advocate for myself. And I know that everything does not need to be said, but if something is like continuously like poking at me, I'm gonna say something. So this is really small. Um, but the other day we were in a group chat with my girlfriends and we were trying to plan something. Ultimately, the initial conversation, uh I was like, hey, I don't know if we should do this, go to this spot because of last time, this was what the experience was. And we only went to this one spot to accommodate one person in this group. So you didn't even do the activity. So can we move somewhere else and do whatever? That's what it was about. It was met with slights, jabs. Then I circle back to see if we were still going to do this event Saturday. Then it was like weird, even more of it happening. So I was like, hey, what the fuck is going on? Did we fall out or did I say something to you that rubbed you the wrong way because you coming at me crazy and I don't like that. So like you need to tell me like what's going on. But the person was like, I'm not mad. Are you really mad for real or what's going on? And I was like, honestly, I was like, I'm dead ass serious with you. I got a problem because I've been more than accommodating to you and the other person in this group. And every time I try to make a suggestion, it was some sort of pushback. So y'all figure it out. And I told her that I needed a moment. And then she kind of like hit me with the, if you're entitled to your feelings are valid if that's how you feel type of shit. And I was like, and then you're gonna say some bullshit to me like that. I don't do stuff like that because you was being passive aggressive. So I called it out. So she could not understand why I was mad and she thought it would just had to do with this one situation. But I was like, no, it's just not this. This has happened this time. This has also happened that time. But a lot of people don't want to acknowledge, like you said, the part that they play in certain situations
that caused you to be the villain.
that cause you to be the ups get mad. I'm like, all right, I'm tired. I'm tired. And I was over it the next day, but I was tired. But I think that's what happened because like my guy was like, so like I feel like he's like, I feel like you kind of like not he's like not angry, but like you've been coming. I'm like, yo, like I'm tired of people bullshit. I'm tired of people like letting people slide for shit. It's not cool. Like, because the one moment that you be like, nah, it's like you, like their whole world has exploded. Their whole perception. And I'm like, nah, we nipping this in the bud right now. And so, and I think it also comes from, like especially growing up as a black kid, us not being able to ask why or understand certain, like we could, like certain emotions were stifled.
It was
And
the because I said so.
yeah, yeah. And so it's a lot of that. And so I'm like, I'm not holding my tongue. Like, especially if you hurt me, nah.
My
Like, let
pendulum
me roll off the.
swings all the way to the left with that one because I don't hold my tongue. Like any and everything that I feel, I kind of want to say, and I regret it afterwards. I'm like, you could have kept that to yourself. But
See, okay, but see, there's the thing. There's a difference. There is a difference where I was like, okay, the thought comes quick enough, and then I thought about what the reaction could be to what the fuck I said. So I'd be like, all right, let me not say that. Or how can I say this where it doesn't come across like I'm being petty or
mhm.
like rude? So I'm able to kind of take a step back and navigate that space a little better. I will give credit to speech and debate for that. But yeah, girl, but it'd be sometimes I'm like, okay, some people just need to get cussed the fuck out.
I'm
Because
gonna
people be.
always say what's on my mind. Always. Now I've developed a really good way to bring things to light.
Mhm.
But even in me having a good way to do that, where I spare other people's feelings and I'm like trying to get to the root, like, hey, just want to point this out to you. Like, you're doing this. Is everything okay? You good? Because you tripping. You all
Yeah.
right? There's still sometimes that I don't even need to do that. Like, I just, why? I don't know. But I feel like I always need to say what's on my mind. And
I
that
think,
problem.
okay, so I would say that you're probably more of a solution based type person. So when you like see the problem, so I was like that. And so I've learned to allow whomever I'm talking to the space to feel whatever they're feeling, right? I give you, you got two chances. You got two, because the third one is okay. So we didn't talked about this twice. What we doing? Like, what's
Mhm.
how we gonna solve this? Like, here, like, what are you thinking? So we can nip that stuff in the bud, because to me, I don't like repeating myself to people. I don't like that let's go around in circles when it comes to certain stuff. But for me, I've just learned to allow people the space to feel what they're feeling. And then by the third time, I'm like, this has come up in the past. So out, outside looking in. And then I try to be as transparent with my friends, but keep intact. Because like I understand, like sometimes like we all have moments where we're really sensitive. So how can I say this to my friend where it doesn't come across like I'm attacking them? So that was definitely one of the things that I had to learn. But I'm gonna let us get on up out of here and wrap it up. Because we definitely gonna have you back. It's so many things that happen in here today.
A lot. It's a lot. We talk all the time now. Well,
We
now we do.
talk all the time, and I just like,
Talk
oh, this a podcast.
a good bit now, because man, there's a lot to say when you discovering some things about yourself
It's a
on
lot to say.
the journey.
And it's a lot to say when you are just like the journey has changed. Like I think that people view the journey as one way, and it's like, nah, curveballs.
It's not linear.
Curveballs.
Journey's not linear at all.
It's not linear at all. So
The
tell
last
me.
thing I want to say though, before we go, while we're talking
Okay.
about dating in your lane and all of these things, to anybody that's watching, sis is not 12, she's not 18, she's not 22. I'm grown, like I'm a grown adult. So if you're of age, like don't feel afraid to talk to me. I'm of age too. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you're 18 or 19, leave this girl alone. You leave this woman
Right.
alone. Don't.
Everybody thinks that I am 22 years old. Like the
Yeah,
older
leave her alone.
that I want to date, that I see myself with, they're like, "Oh, I didn't talk to you. I thought you were."
Girl, when it be them young bucks that be trying to, I was like, listen, I'm 42. And though I'm not, I'm like, this
But that's because you give sexy, mature cougar. I give apparently
I don't
middle
give, I mean,
schooler, because especially
messing with
these
these
break.
young boys. I give like what a daddy's at. And when I mean daddies, I mean y'all daddies. Maybe sometimes y'all granddaddies, okay? Like
Well, clearly
what's
I'm
up?
giving where your little cousin at, because that's the feedback I get when we talk about dating in your lane and what you attract. Clearly, I'm attracting people that think that I'm 12.
Well, girl, Kim, tell the people where they can find you on the socials.
That's not right. There we go. That one.
Yes.
There we go.
Fo-
Right
fo-
there.
Follow Kim. Just follow Kim.
Great. Follow
Okay.
me on Instagram. Look, my life is private. You ain't gonna get much of anything else that you didn't get here, but follow me there. And you'll
Yes. Yes. And y'all know where to find me at St. Angeles, St-Angeles.com. You know, we got the candles. Don't forget about everybody needs an Aquarius because y'all do. And we make don't listen. Don't did you take them damn sunglasses off?
it's the
um,
shades of it all.
if you're buying candles, don't forget to use code Aquarius at checkout on your purchase of $60 or more for a cute surprise. This is slander happening, and we will not tolerate it. So I'll see y'all back here.
Get you a Gemini and live your life.
Yeah, So we're gonna see y'all back here next week.
Bye.